Hey everybody, welcome back to class. It's Ashley Rogers with Grace and Mercy. We are back talking about sewing patterns and creating patterns. So I hope you guys are ready today. I hope you have your textbook. You can find your textbook on TikTok Shop. So if you do not have your textbook yet, I advise you to get it because you're going to need it. Because we're growing in knowledge and we're also growing in skill. So of course, you need to be prepared. So today, like I said, we're going to continue talking about patterns. When it comes to patterns, we are going to need, when we're creating our own patterns, we're going to need a marker, and we're going to need scissors. We're going to need measuring tape. We're going to need some muslin. Muslin. Muslin is your friend. If you don't have any muslin, I advise you to get some because it's going to save your life. And plus, it's very durable. It's going to last you, time after time. Over time, this muslin is definitely going to come through for you as far as being able to use it when you want to create your own patterns, etc. So, what we're going to talk about today, we're going to continue talking about the patterns. We're going to focus on how we make the front pant leg. We're going to do pockets, the inside of your pockets that go in the front, your back pockets, and your circle skirt pattern. So like I said, if you don't have your muslin, I need you to get it. You ain't getting penalized today because we learning and we growing and we growing in knowledge and skills. So I just want to make sure that my class, my students have everything that they need and that they're well prepared for their future and for success. So when it comes to making a pocket pattern, you can simply just use your hand. You don't have to use a particular pattern or anything. You just need to use your hand. You can use your hand and lay it on your muslin. And when you use your hand to lay it on your muslin, you're just going to take your permanent marker and you're going to trace around your hand like a mitten. You're going to trace around your hand. So remember, you don't have to have a certain pattern because when you look at your pockets inside of your jeans or something like that, the pocket literally is shaped just like this. So if you have the skill, the knowledge, and the ability to do so, use that hand and trace over your hand. Trace just a mitten shape around your hand to create your front pocket. And then, of course, we're going to label our pockets front pocket, okay? This is the first step. And then you have the other part of your pocket. This is the part 2 of your front pocket because your pockets have a front and a back, right? So you just need to double it up to make a full pocket so that you can sew this into your garment. And when you sew it into your garment, boom, you straight. You could throw your cell phone in there. You could throw a pen, your lip gloss, your wallet or whatever in your pocket because you have everything that you need. You have sewn together a pocket. Now, when you're doing each side, it doesn't necessarily matter what shape the mitten. I'm calling it a mitten because it looks like a mitten. It doesn't really matter what shape it is, as long as you have it properly sewn together and then placed in the pocket properly. That the pocket will be just as you need it to be. And what I've done in the past, I have taken the mitten, put it in a pocket, put it in on one side, and then I just flipped it for the other side so that it will feel like it's an actual pocket. So just a little tip. Ain't nothing you just gotta do, but I just want to put that out there. Like, this is an option for you to, flip it whichever way you need to so that you can have your pocket to feel comfortable when you putting your hand in and also securely hold your products. For your back pocket, you could take a pair of old jeans and cut that pocket off of your old jeans. For instance, I'm going to take my husband's old work shirt. This is not the back pocket, but this pocket is the shape of a pocket that goes on the back of jeans. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to cut that pocket out. I'm going to cut around it. I'm not even going to try to go on the inside of the pocket to cut. Because right now, the only thing I'm concerned about is having that shape. So like I said, I say many times to come, and I'm saying today, and I've said before, grab some things that you don't wear and cut that pattern off of it. That's going to guarantee you some success when it comes to making a pattern, because you have basically an already made pattern. And for some people in the industry, we don't even go back and use muslin to make the pattern. We just use the product that we cut, and that's our pattern that we use. So like I'm doing right now, I am just cutting this pattern out. This is basically a pattern. It's a full pocket. Last week we cut the sleeve off, and we cut a man's short sleeve off, and we made a sleeve pattern, a man's sleeve pattern, short sleeve pattern. So y'all, I can't say this enough. Old clothes, it's okay to donate them, because I'm donating all the time, but I'm just gonna be real with y'all. Even when you donate old clothes, it is such a good idea to take at least one of those old items and just use it to create patterns with. Don't be afraid to step out of the box and do something different than what you would normally do. Okay? All right. So 1 second, y'all. All right. So now we have our pocket, right? This is the shape of a pocket. And even though it was on the front of a garment, this is the same shape as a back pocket that go on the back of some pants. So what we're going to do, because this is the same shape as the shape of the back of the pants, you can either go on and cut this open, or you can leave it the way that it is, and we're going to trace it. When you trace it, you're going to come out with the exact same shape. This is a back pocket. This is a back pocket or a front pocket for a man's shirt. So I'm just giving y'all some quick tips, some easy tips, because I want y'all to get familiar and get comfortable and get used to thinking outside the box. Everything don't have to cost. You don't always have to go to the store to buy pattern packets because you need a pattern. You got plenty of patterns in your house. Your kids' clothes, your nephew, your niece clothes, your own clothes. You have the pattern at your house. We all have things that we don't wear all the time. We have things that are just laying around. And so if you got things laying around, baby, grab that stuff. That's a free pattern. Don't go spend your money, because you literally have a house full of patterns. Free. That you already paid for. All right. So, like I said again, this is a pocket pattern. All right. So last week we talked about the the long sleeve pattern. This is a woman's pattern. So for the woman's pattern, I have dotted lines going across my pattern that give me a length or a style that I'm choosing. I want to either choose a short sleeve style or the quarter length, or I want to do a long sleeve. So remember, you have options. This is one pattern that we talked about last week. Here is the back pant leg. We discussed the back pant leg. It is different from the front pant leg. Let me reiterate that time and time again. It is different from the front pant leg. Totally different. And I want to show you the difference. So here we have the back pant leg. Look at the shape here. Look at this. Look at this cut. This is different, but similar to the front pant leg. This is the front. See, the curve is more curvy for the front, because of course us women, we don't have what the men have as far as, the parts. We have a totally different part. So therefore, our garment does not need to be baggy and saggy in the front. It needs to be form-fitted. So this curve is for the form fit, for the female body, the female shape. And as you see, I have my dotted lines for my shorts, for my Bermuda short length, And then I had a length on my other one for capri, and then for a full long pant leg. Here, I have my short, my dotted line for my shorts, for my Bermuda cut, and then this is a full pant leg length. So I'm going to put the two together so you can see the actual difference in the shape of the two. This is the back pant leg. That is the front pant leg. Look at the curve. It's much more, you have more of a curve for the front, and you have more of a straight for the back. So I want you to remember that when you cut your back should always have a little bit more of a straight cut than the back part. Should have more of a straight cut for the upper body, this for the butt. And then the front should have more of a curve, because when the two meet in the middle, it's gonna meet perfectly. So not everybody has a round behind. That we just gotta be real. Not everybody has a round one. Some people have a flat one. Some people have a long one with a curve at the bottom. Everybody's body shape different. So it's very important that we all get the proper measurements and we have our patterns cut properly so that our clients can have a product that actually fits them. We want it to fit them the way that they want it to fit. We want them to be comfortable. We want them to be happy. We want them to feel like the garment is a part of them. And for our dress pattern, we discussed that the dress pattern is super simple. It's super, super simple. And this is from an old dress that I had. So I folded. Once you start to sew and cut your fabric, you're going to remember this. Take a note. You are going to fold, center fold. CF, center fold. That's what that means. When you write on your patterns, make sure to write center fold, because it's very important that your center fold is there. And you always want to sew on the stretch. And cut on the stretch. You do not, and you will not be happy with your product if you don't sew on the stretch. Because when your material stretches, you are giving your product the opportunity to move with the client's body, to stretch with the client's body. You want it to, like, if it's a form fitted, you want them to feel like, oh, this feel like a glove. Or if it's a flare, you want it to fit their waist properly, but then flare at the, fit the waist properly, and flare at the hips. You want to make sure your client is happy with the product that you create, because first impressions are a lasting impression. I don't care what nobody says. It's just like when you walk out of your house. When you walk out your house, you want to look good when you walk out your house. Why? Because you never know who you're going to run into. You just don't. So I want y'all to just be prepared and just always keep these things in mind, because they are so, so, so important. Like, first impression is a lasting impression, and do not let nobody tell you differently, okay? All right, so now we're going to talk about the circle skirt pattern. The circle skirt. So the circle skirt requires just a little bit of math, but it's a circle skirt, and we happy about this circle skirt because we can make gowns, elegant gowns. We can make beautiful circle, circle skirts, flare skirts. You can make peplums with it. You can do the circle flare sleeve, the bell bottom style sleeve, or the pants. You can do so many things with the circle skirt. I mean, like, oh my God, I get excited when I talk about the circle skirt because I love working with the circle skirt. All right, so I'm gonna hold this up. I'm hoping you can see it. So what I did, I laid all my muslin out on the table, right? I took my own measurements, and I'm gonna show you right now, okay? All right, so my waist measurements is a 38. All right, when you measure your client, you're gonna write that down, 38. Then you're going to get your calculator. 38. You're going to divide it by 6.28. The circumference of a circle is 6.28. So my waist is 38. My measurement for my circle skirt pattern, when I cut it, like if I'm making something for a client or for myself, I'm going to take 38 and I'm going to divide it by 6.28. And that gives me 6.05. So when I have my circle skirt, and I'm about to cut my pattern, I'm making my measurements, but, making my measurements right now, what I'm going to do, this is my pattern. So for me, for my pattern, I laid my muslin on the table. This is the corner of a sheet of muslin. And I just gave myself some room to start my circle. I went down, let's see, how many inches did I go down? I went down about 5 inches from the top of the sheet because I need to make sure I have my curve for the waist part of my circle. Okay. So after I did that, I got my measuring tape and I just went down and just counted down the sheet by inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 inches. And so on. And I did that because that would determine, these inches would determine where I need to start for the proper measurements for a full circle skirt. So mind you, this is a half circle skirt, right? So this is only half. So when I cut my material, I'm going to fold my material in half with this being the center. Remember, the center fold is where the material is not, there is no edge. It is just material still connected to each side when you fold it, full material. So I fold my material on my center fold. This is for me, it's my center fold right now because I'm not working with a full sheet. And then I will take, because my measurement says 6.05, I will take something just to weigh it down to hold this part of my muslin or my material down. And I'm going to get my measuring tape and I'm going to go down to 6. When I get down to 6, I'm going to I usually take pins, stick pins, and I pin, like I take the pins and I make the curve with my pins on my material because I want to make sure that I'm like keeping an accurate and precise line and measurement straight across. I don't want to get offline. And of course, like I always say, allow what? 1 inch seam allowance, so leave some room for some error because we make mistakes and sometimes we need that extra room, that extra space. So once you once you get your correct measurement for the circle, mine will be 6. I will come down here and I take stick pins and I have a measuring tape as well. Show y'all how I do it. Now I take a stick pin. Right now I'm standing up to do this because I want y'all to see. But we're going to go more in detail and more in depth later. So I take my stick pin and I start where my 6 is. And I have more stick pins and I bring those stick pins as I do this with my measuring tape. I'm staying on the 6 the entire time. As long as I'm on the 6, that 6 is going to turn around and it's going to meet the other 6. So that's a full 6 inches straight across because that's what I need for a circle to go around my waist. So remember, I will tell anybody, make sure you have your measuring tape and get you something like a little weight because those little weights actually help. If you don't have a stick pin to hold your measuring tape in place, then like I said, get a weight. It could be a book or something like this, something that's got some weight to it that can hold this down so that you can move it and keep it on the right track. Because like I said, mine is a 6, so I want this 6 to go all the way around for a full circle on my material. So remember that you want to make sure you stay on the same at the same inch. You 6 inches down, you want to stay 6 inches down all the way across for a full circle. We're going to get into making products when we get to, I believe it's our next chapter. Let me see. It's our next chapter. I want to make sure. Actually, no, we got stitching is going to be our next chapter. But right now, we're talking about these patterns. So once we get fabric and we got our fabric and we're preparing to sew, or at least put the pieces together, it is very important, like I said, to leave room for error. Please leave room for error. If you don't leave room for error, it's going to be a little bit difficult and challenging to actually, when you do make a mistake, fix that mistake. And I'm just being transparent with you guys. I'm not going to tell you anything wrong. I don't want to lead you guys astray. Sewing is therapeutic. It is so relaxing. It is a challenge. For those of us who like challenges, like me, it's a challenge, but it challenges you to do your best and be your best. So, in the midst of me saying that, I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat that anything is easy, because everything starts with a challenge, and once you start doing it, it gets easier and easier. All right, so now we're gonna go back to this men's shirt. As you see, I already cut off the pocket for this shirt. So, but what I'm going to do now, I'm going to cut this full front panel off, because this panel is a pattern for me for a man's shirt, right? Right. So that's what we're about to do. And I'm going to give y'all a real quick tip. This is just an Ashley 101. It's sewing 101. Keep the buttons. You never know when you're going to need the buttons. Keep your buttons, okay? All right. So I am going to, like right now, I am cutting. I'm going to get a better tripod, y'all. I promise. Because I'm recording from a computer and from my phone. And I'm going to make sure I get a better light for you guys. Y'all deserve that. And shoot, I deserve it, don't I? think so too. But I am cutting this front panel off of this shirt, because this is going to be a pattern for me, for a man's shirt. So I just want y'all to see. I try to be precise just because I like precision, but I ain't perfect all the time, y'all. So don't think I am. I'm not. Now I have another shirt, for a man's shirt, where I am going to cut that one. That one has a long sleeve. But guess what it's got that I'm going to use? I'm going to need some buttons. We want to keep them buttons. We want those buttons. We want to keep those buttons. I'm telling you, don't throw away buttons, because you never know what you're going to need them for. Here. And so once you cut your pattern, you don't have to remember, this is a thing to remember. You don't have to be like to cut perfect. It's okay, because this one ain't to keep. It's to use for a guide to create your own pattern with your muslin. So just remember that. I want y'all to just really keep that in mind. Some people get overwhelmed when it comes to sewing, and patterns, and I used to be one of those people. But after I got used to it and kept doing it it became so much more easy. So my husband's name is Steve. But yes, this is the front panel of a man's shirt. Okay? The front panel. So I can use this for the left or the right, actually. Even though it's the right side of his shirt, I can flip this bad boy, and now it's the left side of the shirt. So remember, we got patterns at home. We just don't realize it until we get rid of them. Like, dog, you know what? I could have kept that. I should have kept that. Because that's something that I could have used. But right here, y'all. Right here. I'm going to help y'all. I promise I am. Now, we finna get another pattern. A collar. Telling y'all, our houses are full of free patterns. Full of free patterns. This. But I just want to see you guys be so successful at this, because sewing can be so much fun when you allow yourself to be creative and just go with the flow, and you don't even know what you're about to make, and you just get on your machine, or you just grab your fabric and just say, I want to make something. Man, your whole imagination comes all the way alive, and then you end up doing something that you never thought you could do, proving yourself wrong. You know, because we all have doubted ourselves at some point. See, here's my free men's collar pattern right here. And all I'm going to do, I'm going to take this pattern, I'm going to lay it on my muslin, and I'm going to cut the shape, and I'm going to label it. Always label it. So when it comes to men's patterns, though, especially the collar, I do want to say this. Make sure you write down that measurement once you cut this one, so that you will know what size shirt you actually use for a man's pattern to get your actual pattern on your muslin. For my husband, he got a big neck. I think it's a 16 and a half, 18 and a half, something like that. He's a strong man. But I just want y'all to just like be creative, step outside the box, use your imagination, because we got all the tools we need at the house. If you ain't got a machine, baby, I'm going to help you get your machine. All right? And so now, I'm going to cut the back of this shirt, because I want to use this as a pattern. So, so what am I about to do? I'm about to cut this part of the shirt off, this front panel off, that I cut the pocket off of earlier. Cut that off, and then this is going to be a pattern for me. And like I said, you can keep if you cut the product, like some old clothes, you can use that as your pattern. You don't have to get the muslin and, use the muslin to make your pattern. You can just use the product that you already cut and make your pattern with that and use that as your pattern. Just make sure you have something to label it with, because you don't want to end up accidentally using a male pattern sleeve for a female garment. And you don't want to accidentally use a female pattern for a male garment, because then you're going to be mad at yourself that you didn't label your stuff. So make sure you label. It's so important to label your patterns. All right. I almost got y'all. I'm almost there. And see, like I said, it's okay if you mess up on your cut. It don't have to be exact. It don't have to be perfect, because mine ain't. And it probably never will be, even though I am a perfectionist. But that's okay. Now, I got a back panel for a man's shirt. See? We building our pattern inventory, right? We got the male back pattern. We got the front panel pattern for the man's shirt. This, even though this is the right panel, you flip that baby backwards. And then it's the left panel. You don't have to keep cutting extra panels and stuff like that, because one panel is exactly the same as the others, just in reverse. We have our male collar. We have our male short sleeve. We have a back pocket, which was also used as a front pocket on a male shirt, or you can use it as a front pocket on a women's shirt. It's totally up to you. But I think this size pocket is appropriate for a female back pant pocket because of the size. And I do think it's appropriate for, both the male and female shirt. So that's my opinion. But again, we have this is a large sleeve. And you're always going to cut on center fold, and you want your fabric to stretch side to side. It shouldn't stretch up and down. It should stretch side to side before you cut, because your fabric has to move. When you're sewing it on that machine and that fabric ain't stretching when you sewing it, we got a problem. Because now you just saw in the wrong direction. You want to make sure your material can stretch side to side before you're sewing it, and then when you're putting it on your client, you want it to stretch. Because when they put it on, when they gotta zip it up, if they gotta zip it up and the material ain't stretching with the body, we got a problem, Houston. We got a problem. So we want to make sure that our fabric is stretched the right way. The very first product that I ever made, I did not cut the fabric on stretch. And I paid like $40 a yard for that material. I was so hurt. But I took my little behind back to the store and I got me some more material and I did it the right way. And the material that I was using at first, when I cut wrong, I ended up having to use that for something else that it actually worked out for. But it wasn't what my original plan was. So I just want to make sure that I leave these little nuggets with y'all, because I want y'all to please be mindful, pay attention to what direction you're cutting your fabric. Because if you're not cutting that fabric on the stretch, you are going to be so upset with yourself. That's like losing money, because you got to go buy some more material if you didn't buy an excess of it. And I don't want y'all to go through that. So please make sure that when you cut, like even before you even touch them fabric scissors, make sure that your fabric is on the stretch when you fold it, and right before you get ready to cut the pattern out of it. So important note, I want y'all to write that down in your textbook, okay? But if you don't have your textbook, I need you to get your textbook. This is a real textbook, a real one. It's on TikTok Shop. It is on TikTok Shop. It is called Sewing Seeds. I need you to get your textbook, because this is a journey for you, for me. Get your textbook. You're going to write notes in here. You can fill this baby up. You're going to fill it up. So make sure you get your book off of TikTok Shop, because you're going to need it, sugar. You're going to need it. But that's it for today, class. I hope you all had a wonderful time with me. I'm looking forward to us coming back together. We got a little bit more in patterns to talk about. This chapter is kind of lingering and like going a little bit longer than anticipated, which is exciting for me because I love talking about patterns. And so the more we get into this chapter, I'm going to take y'all to the store with me. We're all going to take a trip to the store. We're going to go buy some fabric. And when we get our fabric, we're going to come back, we're going to cut patterns, and we're going to then talk about the stitching, the type of stitching we want to use. And then when we talk about the stitching, we're going to get to the sewing, honey. I am so excited. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm going to give y'all this last 15 minutes of class back, but enjoy your day. Go home and study. Go home and practice. Write in your journal. Write in your book, your textbook. Come on, let's get it. We growing and we going together. Y'all have a great rest of y'all day.